for your grade. Now, for chapter 18, this is about blood. Okay? And we have learned a little bit yesterday during the lab. Okay? So again, blood is a tissue. So this is tissue. Especially this is connective tissue. And we have learned about 4 different types of tissue, right? Epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. The characteristic of connective tissue, it has 2 main components, which is, the first one is called matrix, and the second component, of course, cell, because tissue consists of cells. So tissue is organization of cell. It will have cell, but especially for the connective tissue, it has matrix and cell. So the cell usually produce the matrix. Okay, so the matrix for blood, this is liquid. Okay, so this is liquid. It is called the blood plasma. Okay, so the matrix of the blood is called the blood plasma, and the cells of the blood, okay, all of them is called as a form elements. Okay, form elements. This is the name of the cells of the blood. And again, we're going to learn there are several cells types in the blood. There are several types of form elements in the blood tissue. Okay, you got this one first. Now, we're going to learn the function of the blood first, before we go to the anatomy or the structure of the blood tissue. So we're going to learn the physiology, the function. So functions of blood. Again, I should say blood tissue. When we talk about blood, it means this is a blood tissue. Now, the first functions, the main function of blood is for transportation. Transportation. Okay? Therefore, blood is actually components of the cardiovascular system. This is the one that will be circulating in the circulation system or the cardiovascular system. Because what? Because the main function is for transporting many things. So the one that is transport, like for example, nutrients and oxygen, okay, is transporting a lot of nutrients like glucose, proteins, amino acid. That's a nutrients that will be transported by blood from one tissue or from one cell to another cell or another tissue, from one organ to another organ. That's the nutrients, glucose, hormones, etc. And also it's transport waste, including carbon dioxide. Okay, so transporting nutrients and oxygen and waste product and carbon dioxide. Okay, example of waste products that is transported by the blood. Yeah, in addition to the carbon dioxide over here, it's like urea, ammonia. That's example of the waste products that usually transported by the blood. Get it, man? Okay. And then, as you know, most of the carbon dioxide will be removed through the lungs when you exhale. This urea and ammonia will be mostly excreted through the urine. That's the reason the urine the name is coming from, because it has a lot of urea and ammonia. Urine. Get it? So that's the first functions of the blood tissue. transportation. Really important. The second function is for regulation. Regulations. What kind of regulation that we have that is done by the blood? First, it's regulate pH. Blood pH. Last time we mentioned about what happens if we have like too much acid in the blood or too much base in the blood, you have problem. So therefore, blood has this ability to regulate the pH using what we call the buffers. There are buffers in the blood that regulate the pH. There are two main buffers in the blood. The first one is actually acid. It's very weak acid. It's called the carbonic acid. Carbonic acid. And the second one, this is actually base. And this is an ion, carbonate ions. So these two buffers will regulate the pH of the blood around 0.74. So this is the homeostasis for the blood pH, around 0.74 pH. A little bit base. Second, is regulate temperature. So your blood can also regulate your body temperatures. And then regulate the water in the body. So sometimes, it may be excreted through the sweat, or sometimes less if you produce ADH, for example. So this also the regulations of blood or the function of the blood. Therefore you will be safe from maybe dehydrations with this blood regulation. The next one is for the defense. For defense. First, defense against infectious disease, like bacteria, viruses, parasites. It's also defense as against blood loss. So the blood have some proteins or cell that able to clot or to seal. Maybe if the blood vessels broken, this blood has the ability to seal the blood vessel or to clot the blood. Therefore, you will not be bleeding so much. So these are the three main functions of the blood tissue. You get this one first. Now we're gonna go how this blood do these three main functions. Of course, we're gonna learn the anatomy of the blood, the structure of the blood. The blood tissue. Now, are you finished with this one? I'm gonna erase this. We're gonna put, I need the space. Now to understand the function, then we're gonna look at the structure or anatomy of the blood tissue. Now, when you take your blood and then put it in like the tube or samples and centrifuge it, centrifuge, let's say you have blood this much, and then when you centrifuge it, boom, 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 it will separate the matrix and the cell, the form elements. You with me? So the one that is heavier will be at the bottom. If it is lighter, will be on the top. You follow this? Now, from this information, which one do you think will be on the top? The cell or the liquid? Ethan, which one's on the top? The cell or liquid?
I thought the cell.
The cell will be in the top or bottom? Bottom, because cell is heavier. Okay, cell is heavier. So when we centrifuge this blood, what happens? Okay, the cell will be here. Okay, and the liquid, which is the blood plasma. So this is blood plasma, which is matrix, right? Will be on the top. Okay, and then the bottom one over here will be the form elements, the cell. Okay, so this is the formed elements, or the cell, the blood cell.
Looks like a cigarette.
You're right. So look like cigarette. Do you smoke?
No.
No. Okay. Hey, you guys went. Now, the homeostasis or the normal ratio between blood plasma and the form element is around 55% plasma. That's a normal. And how many the form elements gonna be? How many percent? If this one is 55, then the form element will be 45. So 45% form element. That's normal. So we can measure actually. So we can measure if you are healthy or not based on this ratio. You take your blood, put it in the centrifuge, and then calculate the percentage. Okay. Now for female, even though it says 45, remember homeostasis usually the range number, not a fixed number. Okay. So female, if they have 37 to 47% of these form elements over here, it's going to be normal. So normal, healthy. Are you with me? Male has higher form element. Okay, the male, the healthy ratio for the form element is between 42 to 52%. So even can go higher. Can you follow this? So if you measure your form element, sometimes that measurement is called a hematocrit. Hematocrit or crite. Sometimes it's called the HT. If you go to the doctor, sometimes the doctor can measure your HT, hematocrit. If you are male, if you are between 42 to 52, then you are healthy, normal. You hear me? Now, what happens if it is lower than that? Let's say if you are female, it's lower than 37, or if you are male, lower than 42, then there is a condition is called anemia. So basically, anemia means you don't have enough cells in your blood. It's called anemia. Okay. Now, what happens if it is higher? Let's say female higher than 47, male higher than 52. You also have problem with your circulation. Your blood is going to be very sticky because too much cells in it. What? So that condition is called a polycythemia. It's very, very sticky blood. Some people like, athlete, sometimes they put doping, blood doping. You get this one? So they're actually injecting his own blood. And then what is causing? Causing this percentage is going to be higher, maybe 60 65%. It's actually dangerous for him because it's going to be more difficult for his heart to pump the blood. It's really sticky, okay, forcing to blood to be circulate. You get this one, right? So polycythemia means too much cell. Anemia means too less or too few cell in the blood. Okay. Now for male and female, they have different calculation, different measurement. Okay. Do you have questions so far for this? Now, what is in here? What is in blood plasma and what are in the form element? This is what we're going to learn. Then we're going to connecting with the function of the blood tissue itself. Okay, now, in the blood plasma over here, okay, which is around 55%, okay, from this 55%, okay, 92% will be water. Okay? So 92% of this 55% blood plasma is actually water. That's it. Okay? Now what is the water function for? This is transportation, right? Transportation. Especially for, okay, like hormones, glucoses, etc. So this is nutrients that dissolve in water, will be transported in water. Okay, so main function of water here for transportation. That's the first function, remember. The second component of the blood plasma is about 7%. Is called the blood proteins. Okay, the blood proteins. Okay. There are 3 types of blood proteins in the plasma. The first one is called the albumin. Albumin. This is the most abundant one. Okay, I put based on the abundancy. Albumin is the most type of proteins that in the blood. What is the function? Again, this is transportation, like example for, okay, like lipid soluble hormone, cholesterol, will be transported by this albumin. Remember when we talk about the lipid soluble hormone, they cannot be transported freely in the water. They need vehicles. They need the lipoprotein. So albumin will serve as that transporter for the lipid soluble hormone, cholesterol, or some other lipids. You get this one, The one that dissolve in water will be transported in the water part of this blood plasma. The second one is globulin. Now, globulins, the main function is for disease protection. So this is protections against this infectious disease. Infectious disease. So I mentioned infectious disease. Anybody can tell me what is the difference between infectious disease and non-infectious disease? Daniel, what is infectious disease? What is non-infectious disease? Now, if I give you an example, flu and heart disease, which one is infectious disease, which one is not infectious disease? No. From there, then you can actually guess what is actually infectious disease. It is. Not really that. It is caused by something. Who causing that flu? Virus. Okay. Let's say TB. Okay, TB. It is a infectious disease or non-infectious disease? Why? No, it's caused by not virus, bacteria. Is it right? So from this, you can actually tell infectious disease means disease that caused by microorganism, by germ, by pathogens. Can you see that one? How about non-infectious disease like cardiovascular disease? It is caused by bacteria or virus or something else. Something else what? Maybe your blood vessel is not good. Maybe there is a blocking in your blood vessel. Or maybe your heart is not pumping the blood. Are you with me? Okay? So infectious disease means the disease that caused by pathogen, by organism, mostly microorganism. Okay? So this globulin main function is protection against infectious disease. Okay, you and me? And we have 5 types of globulin that fight against infectious disease in our body. It is called the immunoglobulin, or sometimes it's called the IG. So IG means immunoglobulin. What is that? Immune. What does immune mean? What is immune system? Sarah? What does immune system mean?
How much your body can
Fight against infection. Therefore, this globulin over here is called the immunoglobulin, right? This is connection over there. This is globulin that's used for immune system. So we have immunoglobulin in our blood. There are 5 of them. I'm going to put based on the abundancy. Which one is the most? The first one is IgG. So there is a globulin, immunoglobulin called the G immunoglobulin, IgG. And then we have another name for immunoglobulin is, I'm going to put here, is called antibody. Okay, so immunoglobulin or antibody, they are the same thing, which is a proteins that fight against infections. Okay, now we have the most abundant one is called the IgG. The second one is IgA. And then we have IgM, IgD, and IgE. Okay? Now, can you memorize this immunoglobulin based on the abundancy? It's easy, right? You just say game, what? But there is D between E. Okay? So it is game. G-A-M-D, and then E. Now, they have special function. Thus, IgG or antibody is just like a weapon. We can say this is a weapon, like maybe gun, that will fight against infection. We're going to see later the connection with the foam elements for the infectious disease also. Okay, so this is like a weapon. This IgG mostly will kill the bacteria. You see the connection last time when we talked about the leukocyte, the white blood cell? Which white blood cell that kill bacteria, fight against bacteria? Anybody still remember? What type of white blood cell that kill or fight against bacteria? This is the most abundant white blood cell also in our blood. Neutrophil, right? The neutrophil. So neutrophil is just like the person or the army. And then the army carry the weapon over here. You with me? So you just try to make it easy for you to understand the immune system in our body. So we have the army, and we created, this is actually created in your body. We created the weapon in our blood. Right? So neutrophil fight against bacteria, and the weapon that used mostly the IgG. We created the IgG. Right? Now, how about the IgA? IgA also fight against bacteria, but this IgE mostly located in the sweat, saliva, right? So in the liquid that we produce, not really in the blood. So many of them is actually located in the sweat, in the saliva. We have a lot of IgA. It fights against infection too, mostly against bacteria. Okay. The IgE over here, right? This is the one that usually used for allergy, okay? Allergic reaction. Okay? The IgM, this is the one that used for blood typing. So this is fight against foreigner cell that enter into your body. Remember on blood typing yesterday? We have three main type of antibody that we used to know. What is your blood type? Anybody still remember? What is the blue one? What antibody in the blue one? What is the name of the antibody in the blue one? Antibody A, right? Okay. It's not really related to A over here. It's just called antibody A for the blood typing. What is the yellow one? B. What is the clear one? RH, rhesus, RH antibody. So this is actually immunoglobulin type M that will protect us against somebody else's blood. In case somebody else, put the blood in our body, we try to fight it actually. Okay? So that's the different type of globulin. Now you see there are two function already: transportation, protection against disease over here. Okay. The last one, okay, is called fibrinogen. That's the last type of proteins in the blood. Okay. Now, what is the function of this fibrinogen? This is the one will clot the blood. So actually protect us against bleeding. Okay, loss of blood. Clotting the blood. Okay, so this is protection against blood loss. So in case you cut your own finger, for example, if you don't have the fibrinogen, then what happens? You keep bleeding. Anybody have heard people with disease called the hemophilia? This is inherited disease actually, genetic disease. What is heme mean? What is heme mean? What is heme? Sini? Blood. What is philia? Remember phil? We mentioned about hydrophilic molecule, and the opposite of phil is phobia. What does philia mean? What does phobia mean? Fear. Now what does philia mean? What is the opposite of fear? What does Philadelphia mean? You went to Philadelphia. Anybody go to Philadelphia? Phil mean love. Philadelphia is brotherly love city. Right? You should love things under Philadelphia. So Phil mean love. So what does that mean? Hemophilia. This person love to be bleeding. Because what? Mostly he does not have this clotting factors. Okay? So this individual usually, if they are bleeding, is really, really, really risky because he might die because their blood is not stopping. You get this one? So this is fibrinogen function, to clot the blood, which is to protect us against blood loss. And the rest over here. So about maybe 1%. Of course, it consists of the one that is carried by this blood, like nutrients, gases, including carbon dioxide mostly over here. Oxygen will not be here. Oxygen will be carried by the red blood cell. So nutrient, waste, products, ammonia, urea, will be part of this blood plasma tube. Okay, so that's the component for this blood plasma. Okay, and you already see they have different function over there. Now, we're connecting with this one because the blood tissue has blood plasma and it has form elements, right? Form elements, which is cell. Okay, and we have learned yesterday there are several types of cell. The first one, the one that give you red colors in your blood, what you call that cell? Okay, what is the scientific term for the red blood cell? It's called the erythrocyte. Erythrocyte or erythrocyte. Erythrocyte. Which is red blood cell. And this is 99%. 99%, our blood is actually red blood cell. Our cell in the blood is red blood cell. The second type of cell, after red blood cell is called the thrombocyte. Thrombocyte. What is the usual name? General name for thrombocyte? It's called platelets. Maybe about 0.9%, something like that. It's 0.9%. And the least abundant one is called the leukocyte. Leukocyte. Leu means white. So this is going to be white blood cell. It's about only 0.1%. Very few. Therefore, last time it's going to be very difficult to find this white blood cell. Okay, because not many, but they are very important. Okay, now what is the importance of these three different form elements? So we're going to combine with that one. Erythrocyte. The main function of erythrocyte is for transportation. This is the one that transports oxygen. Okay, so erythrocyte or red blood cell is for transport oxygen. So if you see a erythrocyte under the microscope, they're going to be look like this. It's called the biconcave, which is thick on the side and very thin in the middle. Have you ever seen the Lifesaver peppermint or mint, right? That's just look like that. Very thick on the side and very thin in the middle. That's red blood cell. And red blood cell do not have nucleus. No nucleus. Biconcave, no nucleus. Okay, why? Because nucleus is big. It's big. And we need a lot of space for carry oxygen. So we need a lot of space to carry oxygen. So instead of having nucleus, we actually expel the nucleus from the red blood cell. So the red blood cell can kind of sacrifice for us. Okay, I don't need nucleus because yes, you need to carry a lot of oxygen. Are you with me? Therefore, what happens if the cell do not have nucleus? What happens if you don't have nucleus? Do you think they will be stay forever or they're going to be die sometime? If there is no control center in the cell, there is no process in the cell. What happens with the cell? It will die or will stay alive? It's die, right? It will die. Therefore, this because the red blood cell do not have nucleus, they have only about 120 days of their life. So their lifespan is about 120 days. So each of the red blood cell will only stay for 120 days. It means that it has to be produced every time. Okay? So red blood cell will be produced every time. The old one will be broken down. The new one will be replaced. The old red blood cell. So sometimes if you are donor, for example, it's good for you actually, because the more red blood cell is taken from your blood, then the more will be produced. And it's gonna be fresh blood that you have in your circulation. So anybody a donor over here? If you're a donor, usually will be called by the donor center almost every maybe 1 month or 3 months. So my wife is a donor. He's always get a lot of T-shirt. Okay, if you're a donor, sometimes they give you a T-shirt, some lot of things. Okay, so this is why the red blood cell will not stay forever. Because what? Because they don't have nucleus. Why they don't have nucleus? Because they need space to carry a lot of oxygen. Oxygen is very important for us. Without oxygen, we die. Okay? How long you can stay alive without food? Maybe 1 week, right? Without water, maybe about 2 days, 3 days, maybe. But without oxygen, how long is it going to be alive? Maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you die. If you don't believe me, try to. Okay? Don't breathe for about 5 minutes. Mostly you will have problem. Right? You got this idea, right? Why red blood cells do not have nucleus? They need a lot of space to carry oxygen. So this is based on its function to carry the oxygen. That's the red blood cell. Now, the second one, thrombocyte. Thrombocyte or platelet. What is the function of this thrombocyte? It's going to be together with the fibrinogen to protect us against blood loss. So this thrombocyte over here will have the same function like the fibrinogen. So fibrinogens and thrombocytes will protect us against blood loss. It will clot. It will agglutinate our blood in case we are bleeding, for example. Some people that don't have enough thrombocytes, they will be bleeding also easily. Anybody have heard about this disease? It's dengue fever. It is caused by the virus. If they have this virus, what happened? This virus actually killed the thrombocyte. So what happened with that person? Especially kid, they will die within 10 days. When they die, mostly their skin will be bleeding. Why? Because it cannot be clot. Because the thrombocyte is very low. Are you with me? So you can search dengue fever. In tropical country, there are a lot of dengue fever. This is disease that's caused by viruses and carried by mosquitoes. So if there is a mosquito over there, they might have some problem with the dengue fever. Are you with me? This is just for your information. So thrombocyte is really important to clot the blood, for clotting the blood. Now, the last one, leukocyte. Look at the component of this blood plasma. We have a protein, it's called the globulin, fighting against infectious disease. Leukocyte also the same. But this one is the army itself. The army itself. The immunoglobulin is the weapon. Now, we have 5 types of white blood cell, and we have learned yesterday. What is the most abundant one? Start with what letter? What is the most abundant white blood cell that fight against bacteria? Neutrophil. So neutrophil. Neutrophil. What is the second one? Start with L. Selena? Lymphocyte, right? Lymphocyte. We just have it yesterday. Lymphocyte. This is the one that fight against viruses. What is the next one? Start with M. Monocyte. This is for long-term bacterial infections. What is the next one? Start with the E. Eosinophil. This is for parasite. Eosinophil. And the last one is basophil. This is for mostly allergy. Look at this one. This is going to work together with this globulin, immunoglobulin. The army and the weapon will work together to fight against infectious disease. Okay. Now, I mentioned to you over here, the easiest way to remember the name of the immunoglobulin, based on the abundancy, just GAME, right? IgG, A, G, M, D, and then E. GAME, but there is D before E, right? So in case it's in the exam, then you should know which one is the most abundant one, which one is the least abundant one, for example. Now, how about this? How to memorize this? Just memorize the first letter over here. The easy way is just say, never let monkey eat banana. Okay. Never let monkey eat banana. Why? They will ask more. Never let monkey eat banana. Then you have this. This name of leukocyte or white blood cell based on the abundancy. Okay. And again, we mentioned neutrophil. This is fights against bacteria. Lymphocyte, viruses. Monocyte also for bacteria, but mostly for long-term infection. When the infection is a long-term, mostly monocyte will stay there. Will try to fight that bacteria. Eosinophil, this is for parasite. In case you have some people have worm infections, or maybe malaria. Malaria is caused by parasite. So their eosinophil will be high. And the basophil, this is mostly for allergy. So someone that have allergy, mostly their basophil will be increasing, and also their IgE will be increasing. So this immunoglobulin will also be increased. Plus with the basophil, and sometimes eosinophil will be also increase to fight the allergy, inflammation. Okay, there's a lot of things over here. Do you have questions so far? Okay, and again, from this structure, you should be able to connect this into the function. Remember, there are three main functions of blood tissue. First is for what? For transportation, and we have learned over here. Okay, the water over here transported a lot of water-soluble proteins, glucoses, and many of them. The blood proteins, albumin, mostly for transportation. And then the other function is for protection, maybe against disease or against blood loss. Here in the plasma, we have the globulin that protects against disease. There are 5 types of them. All of them is called the antibodies, IgG or antibody G, A, M, D, E, right? Together with this leukocyte, also used for fighting infection. And then another function is to fight against blood loss. In this case, we have fibrinogen in the plasma, and we have the thrombocyte in the foam elements. Erythrocyte, red blood cell, is the main important over here. Therefore, we have 99% because we need a lot of oxygen. This is the one that transports oxygen. The other function is for regulation, like for example, regulation of pH, hydration, and also body temperature, mostly here, mostly in the blood plasma. So blood plasma, because it is water, it can control your body temperature, it can control the sweating, it can control the urination, it also control the concentration of nutrients over here, including the buffers, the carbonic acid and bicarbonate ions. So these are the components of the blood tissue, including their function. Do you have question for this one? Okay, I think it's already a lot over here. I'm gonna stop, so I don't want to make you so, fill up with this information. We will continue next time with the how this or where this blood cell is actually formed, which organs, with tissue that will produce this blood cell. Okay? Do you have questions? If not, I'll see you then on Tuesday. Okay? You have a good weekend. Yes.
What is monocytes like? Do they also fight parasites?
Monocyte, remember yesterday? Long-term bacterial infection. You check it, you observe it with the calculation. Okay?